With the technology we have today and its capabilities, it begs the question, should we use this technology and experiment on animals for the sake of potentially saving millions of people's lives as a result of diseases? That and the benefits and negatives of this topic are going to be discussed in today's video. The benefits. Point one is that if you experiment on animals, it lowers human experimentation, and human experimentation could go wrong. Of course, this leads to the question, does that make human lives more valuable than animals? The second point is that if you test drugs on animals, they can often be approved quicker than they can if they're done on humans. You see, animals have shorter lifespans than humans, whilst rabbits, mice, and rats, three of the most commonly tested on animals, have lifespans of only 3 years. Humans can have lifespans of up to 70 years. This means that long-term effects will often be seen quicker than they will in animals rather than in humans. In addition to this, a metabolism of a small animal is quicker than that of a human, meaning that the drugs will be processed quicker and effects will be seen earlier, meaning that there may even be a medical breakthrough in modern science. Third point is that a lot of work goes in by a lot of people to make sure that animals are kept in the best quality conditions possible. As a result of the 1966 Animal Welfare Act, all animals kept in laboratories now have to be kept in the minimal housing conditions. This is often checked up on by veterinarians and representatives from the IUAAC. This means that the animals are going to have the best quality of life as the laboratory can provide. And finally, the main reason why animal experimentation is done at all, and the main benefit, is that it saves and preserves human lives. We are making a massive difference, and we are saving millions of lives like this. If we continue, we will be able to cure cancer at this rate. That is why animal testing should be kept. The negatives. Of course, despite all these benefits, there are lots and lots of disadvantages, which I think will maybe make you change your tune. I personally don't agree with testing on animals, and I hope these reasons explain why. Firstly, despite all of these regulations about taking care of animals, it is highly unlikely that the animals are treated humanely. There's actually a thing called the Draize test in the animal labs that they use to test new medicines, where a rabbit's eyes are pinned to the back of its head for 3 whole days until it's allowed to see again. This causes immense pain, and that's just the start. They do this on all sorts of animals, and it's inhumane and it's wrong. And in many conditions, these animals are often harmed and damaged in a way that's going to damage them for the rest of their lives. Whilst many tests done in laboratories on animals are often painless, with the animals being returned to where they originally came from, most result in the animal being killed afterwards, just like recycling and throwing away your rubbish at the end of a science experiment. The animal dies because the scientists have no use for it anymore. It's already been used, it's already been damaged, and it's not reusable. And that is horrible. Animals are sentient beings and should be treated as such. And it's like throwing a child into that situation. You wouldn't do it. Why would anyone do it to animals? Proved to be necessary in the discovery of medical breakthroughs. In 2017, 115 million experiments were carried through on animals for science. Out of those, 75 new medicines were passed, and only half of those were claimed to need animals to further themselves. Now, I ask you, as a viewer, is that right? Is it right that we should be exploiting 115 million animals each year for something as little as 32 medicines? This is what a very healthy rabbit looks like. A rabbit who hasn't been tested on. Up on the screen right now, I'm going to put a picture of what an animal tested rabbit looks like. I'm sure you can already see the difference in the eyes and the ears and the general healthcare. This is what happens if you test on animals. Animals should be out running free, grazing. Instead, they're kept in tiny cages and abused. Now, let me ask you something. Is that, and should that be, morally acceptable? Finally, and this is the key point, experiments on animals and medicines that work on animals don't always work on humans. They have a very different anatomical system, and while some things react the same, others do not. An example of this is an arthritis drug that was used on animals and was actually found to cure arthritis, but when used on humans, it made it worse. It's unreliable and dangerous to use drugs approved for animals and then use them on humans. It doesn't just benefit the animals to not animal test, it also benefits the humans.